I'm very bad at that.
All righty. So am I in charge of this outfit today?
You are in charge of the outfit.
Well,
So
well,
let me
that's
start by
absolutely terrifying for all of us. Let me just say that.
taking roll call. The roll call is pretty simple because it's me, Commissioner Beckstad, and it would be our Chief Investigating Officer. But for those of you that have not heard, he has resigned and is going to go to law school. So we are currently in the process of recruiting for that position. We're very fortunate that we have so many candidates, we can't decide which ones to interview. And that is not an understatement.
Did
We're
he
doing,
say did he say which law school he wants to go to?
um, he's kind of limited because he has to do it online. He's looking at University of Hawaii, and I don't remember the other one. Do you happen to remember? Anyway, so it's just you and me, basically. We're here. We do have other representation here. Dr. Everman may be joining because he has some thoughts and opinions that he'd like to share if he's able to. And our director of mutuals, Micah Lloyd, just attended an ARCI conference that had a segment specifically on one of your line items. So with that said, I will go ahead and turn it over to you to approve the meeting agenda.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
And we don't even need to do a motion. You just need to agree to approve it because we can't do any formal business without a quorum anyway. So yeah,
So
if you approve it, we're
so
good to go.
so do we not have do we not have a quorum?
The only time we would have a quorum is if we had three commissioners.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So since it's a subcommittee and we don't have three commissioners on here at this point, you can just say,
All
I'm
right.
fine approving it if there's no objections.
All right. If there's no objections, we'll go ahead and approve the agenda. Agenda is approved. We don't have any old business, so let's move right into new business, beginning with a review and discussion of the strategic plan, which I have looked over, and I have just a couple of thoughts. Not nothing earth-shattering or too major. But Connie, do you want to sort of lead the conversation about that strategic plan?
Would you like me to pull it up so we can all be looking at the same thing?
Yes, please.
Malia, I hope I have permission to do that. If not, I'm hoping you can grant me permission to do that. Let's see real quick here. Let's see, we're on. Just as an aside, while I'm looking for this document really quickly, um, I want to let everyone know that we are going to be moving to Teams effective July 1. So if you have any questions about that, we have a link on our site to get you all settled in on Teams if you have not been on Teams before. So we're just going to mention that every single meeting we have between now and July 1. So you're all prepared and ready to make that transition. That's IT strat plan. Okay, hopefully you're looking at it. What do you guys see right now?
Right now, that is just a screen that shows some files, but it doesn't. On the side are a bunch of files, and then there are three.
This is
Uh,
what we're seeing, Connie. Now we
there we
see it.
go. There we go. That's it. That's it.
Perfect. All right. So let me just go through this section by section, and you can stop me when you want and give your feedback. And then we would love to I've sent this out to the associations. I see they're on the call. I would love to get their feedback at the end during our public comment period, or if you'd like to earlier than that as well. So the background information, the strategic plan was developed through engagement with multiple external interested parties. These include, but are not limited to, limited associations, other interested parties, other government entities, tribal leaders, which we've gotten no feedback from, licensees, and professional associations. The first thing we've done is we have never had, as far as I know, a vision statement at the Oregon Racing Commission. And we spent a lot of time working on this. So let's start with this one. The Oregon Racing Commission is, and remember, we have to, this is a vision of not the industry, but the vision of the commission. I think that's really important to remember. I'd love to have a vision of, we have the next Kentucky Derby here or whatever, but this has to be specific to the regulatory body. The Oregon Racing Commission is a go-to source for industry respected regulations, customer-focused processes, and empowered excellence in racing. So thoughts on that?
So, Connie, this is just a draft, right? This is not,
This is a draft. It's going to go to the commission on the commission meeting for their review and for their recommendations, but you get first crack.
So my comments sort of throughout this document is just to add in certain key spots reference to equine welfare and safety. So like on that vision, the final line, and empowered excellence and safety in racing or something like that. Making some reference to the fact that one of our top priorities is the safety and welfare of the equine and human athletes.
Okay. Let me tell you why I didn't put that in there,
Sure.
just as a counter. Because to me, the excellence in racing includes that, and that's why it's in the values below.
Okay. All
So
right.
I'm going to go ahead and put it in there, and as a track changes, but where do empowered
Empowered excellence. That's good. How about this? Customers focus processes, um, uh, athlete safety and welfare, because athlete would encompass both equine and human, and empowered excellence in racing.
okay, and I'll work with that to clean up.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure I show what's changed, so when we talk to all the commissioners, they can clearly see it. Okay. So we'll have that and I'll explain to them why I didn't put it in and why you'd like to see it in the vision, and we'll let them decide.
Sure.
The mission, the Oregon Racing Commission is dedicated to promoting the highest standards of safety and integrity within the equine racing industry, both on ground and online. Our mission is to safeguard the welfare of the athletes, both human and equine, with a steadfast commitment to the best interest of our citizens, licensees, participants, and the economy.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about the mission statement?
Are you asking are you opening it to the public?
Yeah, I'm just
okay. Let's open it to the public for this whole call. Everybody's free to speak on any of these. What's everybody's opinion on the mission and vision so far? I'm just going to call on people. Liddell, what do you think?
I'm unmuting myself and getting on the camera. No, I think those are very good. I like that it's concise and that more detail follows. So as we go through the detail, I just have a few points, but overall the vision and the mission look great.
Randy, I believe you're on there.
Yep. No, I agree with actually the first three, even the values that you haven't touched on yet, all deal with the commissioner's concerns about well-being of the equine human athletes. So I think that's good that you're consistent all the way through.
And Tag, I'm going to ask you what your thoughts are.
Hi, Connie. Hopefully I'm unmuted. Am I unmuted?
I can't hear you. No, I'm kidding. Yes, you're unmuted.
I just unmuted myself. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I was totally kidding.
Okay. Okay. Well, first off, hi everybody. No, I think it's great, and I think it's something that's long overdue, and appreciate everybody's time and effort and in putting something like this together. I know we back in our TMB days, we had a lot of discussions about doing things like this, and it's it can be a long drawn out process when you're trying to make sure you're dotting the i's and crossing the t's, but I think you guys are off to a great start.
Okay, great. All right.
Connie, I have a question. So is there any existing strategic plan or anything like this already that this is replacing, or is this the commission's first crack at a sort
Can
of?
you see the Zoom screen? I'm not sure if you can or not.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the mission of the Oregon Racing Commission is to regulate and facilitate all aspects of the pari-mutuel industry in the state of Oregon for the benefit of the citizenry, the licensees, the participants, and economy. That was all the strategic planning we had, period.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So yes, I agree with Tag. I think this is probably long overdue, and hopefully this gives us some focus and purpose moving forward with our mission, you know?
Okay. All right, so values, welfare, health, and safety, prioritize the health, safety, and well-being of our equine and human athletes through strict regulatory regulations and training while promoting equine care and retirement. Advocating the safety and well-being of all other participants and aspects of the racing industry. Any comments from anyone?
So just one point on this, and I've spoken with Commissioner Beckstead. I know we're going to get to that in the next part of the agenda. But I think when you're going to do this, I think it might be wise to actually have a plan on how we're going to do these things. So it's great to say it, but we need to also then implement the plan for the equine care and retirement.
And
So I know there's
honestly,
nothing being done right now in the industry, including any of these stakeholders. So it's something we need to look at and incorporate as well.
let me jump in here. So Linnell, do you think, would it be appropriate to leave retirement out of there and just say promoting equine care, or just because I mean, Connie and I talked a little bit about this, and I think while I think that we should have a strong position on aftercare and retirement, I think it's very, very difficult to, and in fact, probably impossible to try and put in requirements. I think it's but I think we can make it a priority as a body, and and have some strong positions on it. But anyway, I'm just wondering, would it do you think it would be more appropriate to leave retirement out of there and just say while promoting equine care?
Well, if you're going to go back to the vision and the mission, that this needs to be racing commission specific, not industry specific.
Yep.
Then you would argue that, yes, you need to take that out. If you're going to make reference to prioritizing and encouraging this within the industry with partnerships from other stakeholders, just changing the wording a little bit, by encouraging partnerships with stakeholders to advocate for retirement and equine care, then you could leave it in.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what the goal is of the commission. If you're going to stick strictly to these are your goals as a commission and this is what you're going to do, then it has to be actually what you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I like leaving retirement in, because I think, establishing retirement and responsible aftercare and so forth should be one of our it should be among our values. But I am interested in some of the other stakeholders that are on the call to see what they think as well.
So my only comment on this would be, and please don't mistake this for any efforts we would make locally, but all three of our national organizations, the National HBPA, the National TOBA, and the national, and at the corridors level, all have fairly vibrant retirement things going.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether or not we're in direct control of that, obviously not the same, but, you know, part of the money that, like, for instance, I can't speak to anybody else, but part of what we pay in national dues every year, you know, goes to, you know, forward those types of things. But that certainly doesn't take away from anything we want to try and do locally.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's more just making opportunities available, making sure that the horsemen know these things are out there. And for us, it may just be limited to having it on our website. And you know, I don't know. Do we want what do we want? Do we want to just leave it like this as a placeholder to discuss with the broader group? Do we want to take that out? What do you recommend, Scott?
I think let's flag it as an item for discussion. But I understand, you know, the sort of the practical difficulties of trying to mandate anything. But like you just said, Connie, you know, making sure that the commission has available resources and ideas for responsible aftercare, I think is important, and I think that we should, you know, that we should include it in the strategic plan. Even if we can't necessarily require anything, I think certainly taking a strong position in encouraging it, I feel like that definitely should be part of our mission and our plan. So I think my preference would be let's flag it, let's see how the other commissioners feel, and you know, and then between now and then, if any of the other stakeholders want to provide further, you know, concepts or ideas or whatever, um, you know, that would be good.
Well, I like what you typed in there, Connie. I think that kind of covers it by encouraging partnerships with the equine industry, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that takes care of it, and that opens, yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so our message, our job is to provide suggestions to this, just like we're doing, and
Mhm.
then bring it to the full commission and say, here's what this group has done. What are your thoughts? So,
Yeah.
when you do your briefing, you can just talk about the fact that we did this, and then we get to the strategic plan in the agenda. I'll bring this up, and at that time, we can talk about why we added these things and if everyone agrees on it or not.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay.
Is there anyone that feels differently, that we should be taking a different approach here? If so, speak up. All righty. Good.
Building and maintaining public confidence in the integrity and credibility of the horse racing industry. Provide fair, neutral, impartial regulatory treatment of licensees. Ensuring the honesty and fairness of all participants, including trainers, jockeys, licensees, owners, and officials, ensuring equal opportunities for all. If I don't hear anything after I pause for a while, I'm going to assume nobody has a comment.
I mean, so when we talk about, you know, the rules that we've been considering around, you know, medications and performance enhancing drugs and stuff, would that fall under this integrity piece?
Yeah, providing the way we regulate, yes, that's part of the integrity. There's all kinds of things under integrity. I think everything we do is integrity. I mean, that's Micah's whole job, as well as Tom's.
So how does everyone feel about specifically about adding words around, I don't know. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole or, you know, totally sort of, you know, sideline this provision, but partial
If you're talking about adding in there, I'm not sure that that's the best place for it.
yeah.
Because health and welfare, we've already talked about that.
No, I'm just thinking of, because I feel like the public, there is some perception among the public that doping is a major threat to the credibility of racing. And so I'm just wondering if that's something that we would address under integrity, or do we just, you know, leave it as something that's sort of an unspoken component of that.
Well, I'd
Again,
like to hear,
this is
I'd
just
like,
this is just me thinking out loud. So if anyone has any other ideas, by all
and
means.
that includes Micah and Karen as well, but of course, Tom, the way I read this is the public confidence is specifically brought up above building and maintaining public confidence in the integrity and credibility of the horse racing industry.
Mm-hmm.
Linnell, what are your thoughts? Do you think anything else should be spelled out in integrity?
It doesn't hurt to do that, since medication is, on everybody's mind anyway, and what kind of medications horses are getting. Maybe just play around with some wording of how that could fit in there.
I might point out that if you look further down, we do get into some of this with the next bullet of transparency.
Under regulatory excellence.
Yeah, let's go further down and then consider
Okay.
coming back to
Yeah. That's fine.
regulatory excellence ensures strict adhesion by establishing rules and regulations and taking appropriate action against industry violations. Continuing to hold primacy of the online wagering licensing within the horse racing industry by providing a comprehensive regulatory framework and promoting innovation in a business-friendly environment. Provide clear and open communication about rules, regulations, and decision-making process.
So, yeah, Micah, we could address the medications here. I was wondering also, could we have a statement on fiscal transparency somewhere? That's not really addressed anywhere in the plan so far.
Rules, regulations, finance, budgeting, what do we want to call that?
I think financial integrity. What isn't that the term that you use, Linnell?
Well, fiscal or financial, yeah.
Yeah.
How's that look?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, support the economy by regulating and promoting pari-mutuel wagering. We stimulate economic growth, creating jobs and opportunities that benefit both the racing industry and the wider Oregon community. Customer services. We believe that customer service is not just a department, but a culture. We strive to provide quick, easy, personalized, and empathetic service to every customer every time. We listen to our customers, understand their needs, and offer solutions that work for them. We treat our customers with respect, honesty, and kindness. We're always looking for ways to improve our services and exceed our customer expectations. Nothing? We thought this one was really important, and this one might need some beefing up. History. The Oregon Racing Commission is committed to the longstanding tradition of horse racing and recognizes it as a cornerstone of our state's history. Any thoughts on that?
This is an honest question. Is horse racing a cornerstone of Oregon's history?
Yes, it is. Horse racing has been going on here since the 1800s. It used to be pretty much every fair meet. Linnell, you can talk about that.
Well, I guess it depends on how you define cornerstone. I mean, yes, it's been around, but a lot of things have been around in the state. And I don't know if that was like a major economic force of history in the state.
Okay.
So I don't know if that is really an accurate statement for history.
So does anybody have some recommended language for that instead? Micah? Scott?
Recognizes that it is important to our state's history, or it is an important component of our state's history. I think cornerstone implies that, it was like foundational to Oregon, like that it was, if we didn't have it, we wouldn't have a state, that kind of thing.
Well, I may have been at the very beginning. There's what was the words used?
Important component.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. Equity statement. The Oregon Racing Commission has follows with interest the work of the Governor's Office of Diversity and Inclusion, affirmative action meeting discussions. As a result, ORC it has confirmed its alignment to intentionally diversify our workforce, operations, and perspectives. The ORC promotes a culture that fosters and embeds diversity and inclusion throughout its operation, both internally with staff and externally with members of the public, interested parties, and/or partners by increasing diversity and multicultural perspectives, improving businesses and service delivery outcomes, increasing certified firm contracting, inclusion, improving individuals and organizational culture, competence, and improving organizational accountability.
On this one, I would just go back to the first sentence and maybe change the grammar there.
Okay.
Instead of saying has followed, maybe just the Oregon Racing Commission follows the work of the Governor's Office of Diversity, or something, something
Right.
along that.
Active tense instead of past tense.
Yeah.
Yep. Good call. I was
And then it's ongoing. Yeah.
I was stumbling over this as I was reading it.
What if we said follows and supports?
Yeah, that's good.
I like that.
Yeah, maybe just follows and supports the Governor's Office of Diversity. Yeah.
The work of the Governor's Office of Diversity and Inclusion.
I don't know if you need work of.
Right. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, just shorten that up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I can clean that up later. All right, so SMART goals. I think we all know what a SMART goal is. Goal number 1. Promote live racing in Oregon to enhance all aspects of the horse racing industry in support of a strong Oregon economy. Outcomes. Monitor and encourage economic growth. What I don't have in here really well written that I know I need to go back to and will is more measurable goals. But for now, let's just work on getting this part taken care of. So if you have any suggestions on measurable goals for any of these, please let me know. Promote live racing in Oregon, outcomes, monitor and encourage economic growth. Support the rural county fair meets, advocate horse racing attributes and benefits to the public, continue to ensure excellent customer service is a priority for all staff.
Can I ask about that first bullet point? Monitor and encourage. I mean, that's really, really broad. Monitor and encourage. Do we want to say monitor and encourage the growth of horse racing as part of Oregon's economy or something like that? Or make it
Encourage growth within the horse racing industry.
It's not just a growth in the industry, though. I push back on that. You know, that the amount, this is something that I think is a problem, is the horse racing industry is just a small piece of the economic growth that we support. And by that, I mean, we're supporting so many other industries at the same time. Every time we have a horse race, there's restaurants and hotels and other areas that are getting, look at the, if you haven't been out to Pineville, that town, you can't get a hotel within 20 miles of there unless you book half a year in advance. It is a huge economic impact on the entire, every single person who lives there is doing something related to the horse race, just about. So we need to work on that, maybe come up with a measurable on that. And I can work with that on my team.
I'm almost to the point where, to your point, Connie, I was thinking what you just said went under the next point: support rural county fair meets and their subsequent effect on their communities. So, however you want to.
Okay, but
I agree with the idea.
But we're forgetting that these 4 bullet items are in support of the goal, which reads promote live racing in Oregon to enhance all aspects of the horse racing industry, support of a strong Oregon economy. That is what you guys have already been saying, and we're trying to repeat that in the bullet items. I think that becomes redundant, although I'm reading that now and it is redundant in the actual goal. In support.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I just want to, the goal is horse Oregon economy supported by horse
So
racing.
the first bullet we don't even need. Well, that's talking about monitoring it, though.
Well, your bullets are just how you're going to achieve this goal, right? I mean,
Right.
so it's just your explanation in detail.
Right.
I think they're fine as they are because you're just explaining how you're going to achieve the goal by doing
Right.
these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ensure the safety and security of humans, equine, and wagering community and property. I mean, these things, believe it or not, it took forever to come up with these, as simple as it may seem. It's crazy how much time we spent. I think we spent most of a year working on this. Outcomes. Reduction in injuries to our equine and human athletes. Require our licensees to increase monitoring awareness of avenues and resources for responsible wagering. That's primarily on the online side. Provide and enforce policies and procedures regarding the safety of participants, licensees, and staff. Provide opportunities for staff to continue learning and researching the latest industry safety and trends. Develop relationship with industry experts to maintain alignment with best practices.
So the notes I made here is on that first one, instead of kind of casting it as something that we're trying to reduce, what if we said something and put it in more of a positive voice, improve the safety of our equine and human athletes. Or even improve and promote the safety of equine. I think I like that even better. Improve.
I think I like it better too.
Yeah.
What's everybody else think?
I do. I like it better.
And then going down to the third bullet point, I would add the safety of the athletes, comma, participants, licensees, and staff.
Mm-hmm.
And by athletes, I'm including and equine.
Got it. How are we on the rest of these? Provide opportunities for staff to continue education, develop relationship with industry experts.
They're good.
Continue to be the leader in licensing and regulating advanced deposit wagering companies. Provide a rigorous regulatory framework, ensure business-friendly practices and open communication across all industry partners, continue to be recognized as a go-to regulator for ADWs. It says creating collaborative. Maybe we should say continue to provide collaborative opportunities. I don't like that creating. Thoughts?
I would just make it create collaborative.
That indicates that we're not doing that now.
Well, if you say continue to, then we're kind of redundant on the previous bullet. But
Remain.
no harm to being redundant.
There's promote collaborative opportunities.
Or maintain.
Maintain.
Or provide.
Provide and maintain collaborative.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. Because sometimes we just bring stuff to the table and allow them to run with it because we don't want to have the, you know.
Encourage.
Facilitate. How about facilitate?
Facilitate. That's the word.
Because that's what we do, right, Mike? That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Micah.
Yeah.
Like right now, Micah's working on a huge process to help them come up with a bad actor list on the ADW side. It's not an ORC program. We're not going to run it, but we're going to help facilitate it.
Right.
Okay. Anything else in goal 3? That's all ADW stuff, so that's probably it. Forward thinking and technologically savvy outcomes, stay up to date on trends and changes in technology, be open to exploring new ideas and business opportunities, ensure that the public faith in technology we license is sound. Anything on that? Okay, increase transparency and access to information. Provide continual training to commissioners and staff on the requirements around transparency. Missing a space there. Provide opportunities for engagement with the public. Regularly meet with interested parties such as legislators, tribes, and associations to educate them and elicit feedback on our operations. Provide extensive resources, research, and historical data on our website for interested parties and industry associates. Thoughts?
I think that covers it.
Yeah, looks good to me. Let's keep going.
Good with me.
Okay, so here are some specific measurables. Project number 1, assist with the passage of statutes which that will promote rural and economic growth. That's pretty simple. Anything that's going to help with the rural and economic growth and statutes that we can be involved in, we can promote. Revamp, is everybody okay with that?
Do you have anything specific right now, or are these just?
Well, you know, I mean, like last session, the short session I just ended, you know, we have the 25%. So trying to provide assistance with trying to pass something like that.
Right, but I don't know if that would pertain to rural economic growth.
Well, it depends on what the money would be used for. You know, so let's do like the bill that was out there floating around about taking more of the money that goes to the lottery and giving more to the fair meets.
Right.
Does the next section go into detail on the projects? I believe, Connie.
Well, the next one is
if you scroll down to the past this section here, project 1 and no, okay, it doesn't go into the specific nuances that we had.
No, because we have to work with the stakeholders to figure out what those projects are. So do we want to change this, or are we okay with it?
Well, if you want this to be the one that pertains to legislative, then you would you wouldn't want to limit it to just economic growth, I guess. Passage of statutes that will enhance the industry and promote economic rural growth.
So goal 1 is promote live racing in Oregon and enhance all aspects of horse racing industry. Okay, so let's do and horse racing industry. How's that sound?
Yeah, fit that in there somehow.
Promote rural economic growth. How's that sound?
Yeah.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's better.
Everybody okay with that? That's why we have to have lots of people look at this. Okay, project number 2, revamp our rules and policies with the latest science, research, and industry recommendation as it pertains to safety.
I would add the words "and equine welfare" at the end of that.
And welfare of our athletes.
Yeah.
Because we have to take in mind that we don't want a bunch of concussions and stuff either.
I'm not sure I like the word revamp.
Oh, I like where you're going. I like where you're going.
I was thinking like the word align might be.
Ooh.
Yeah, I
That's a
like
good
that
one.
too. Yeah, that's really good.
No, I'm not spelling that right.
Well, you got it.
It
Yeah,
looks,
that's right.
wow, I actually spell a word right. That's amazing. That's a first. Ah, project number 3. I see I could have never been a lawyer. That's why I had to get a science degree. Orchestrate the coordination of shared data resources.
That's the project I'm working on, guys.
Oh, okay.
Does
Okay.
that work for you, Micah?
Yeah, I wrote that.
Oh, you wrote it. Okay, good.
Okay.
Micah and Karen and Chris were the strategic planning team for this piece. Complete revamp our website.
We
So we
missed
skipped
the
4.
4.
Oh, modernization of the ORC licensing database. We don't have a choice on that one. The database is dead practically. But we can change that. We can add other things to there. We can leave it just there for now.
That's fine.
Complete revamp of our website. We did that not too long ago, but Micah is eager to do more work, and I'm fine with him doing more work. And this is kind of a timeline. We have to look at this on a regular basis. Is this with the passage of statutes that will, this is really ongoing. 324 was the first one, but now we're looking at
The long session.
June 25. Yeah, would be the end date.
7. Is it? Yes. Yeah, 6.
And do we want to make that description consistent with the language we were just looking at?
Good catch.
Rural economic growth. It fell down to the bottom line, but it's still there. So we're going to change the start date to now then. Okay.
15.
15. Because it won't end that quickly. All right. Revamp our rules and policies with the latest science, research, and industry recommendation as it pertains to safety. I think we should just change this and make this ongoing.
And I would want that to be consistent again with the language we just changed. Where we're using the word align and then
Yes.
adding athlete safety and welfare, or the safety and welfare of our athletes.
With the latest science research industry recommendations as it pertains to the safety of, we might just say athletes?
To the safety and welfare, whatever. I feel like this language, because this language mirrors what we've already said, I feel like it should just to be internally
And welfare of our athletes. Align our rules and policy. Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
just so that the, you know,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, if there's differences, it could create a question of ambiguity.
Okay, got it. Orchestrate the coordination of shared data resources.
Mhm.
Question? I heard,
No, I said, mm-hmm.
oh, I thought you said, you're wrong. No, you made a mistake. Modernize ORC licensing database. That's not going to be 12. That's now going to be 6, 2025, since we missed the window for this time around, thanks to procurement. I mean, due to unforeseen circumstances.
And then it'll be 4 years instead of 3.5.
Complete revamp of our website. That gives you plenty of time.
Yeah. It's an odd one.
Any questions on any of these? And we gave like the worst case scenario for all of these funding, so we make sure that we have money set aside just in case. Action and review. Assist with passage of statutes. Okay, we're gonna have to add these in here. Promote the horse racing industry and rural economic growth. Regular meetings with interested parties, internal quarterly review on progress and future actions. Any questions or comments on that? 2, revamp our rules and policy with the latest science pertains to safe. How do we word that? Safety.
And
Start with the word align. Get rid of.
Oh, yep.
And say align. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that word too.
Yeah.
Randy for the win.
Good job, Randy.
Okay. Recommendations pertains to, how do we word that?
Safety and welfare with our
of our athletes.
Yeah.
Safety and welfare of our athletes. Yep.
Okay. Orchestrate the coordination of shared data resources. I think we're okay on that, right? Modernization of ORC licensing database, period. Complete. Okay, that's what we call it, revamp of our website, right? We can use revamp there.
Yeah, that one makes sense.
Oh, and we're supposed to take SharePoint 2016 out. That was one of the recommendations they had.
Well, that's out of our control.
Yeah, so that's why we're taking it out.
Okay.
Hey, Connie, can you scroll back up so I can see the action and review?
Which one?
Nothing. I was looking at the actions and reviews just to make sure I understood what they said.
Okay, and they're all in your packet too?
Yep.
Yeah, ignore.
Oh, that's it. We actually got through it all. That's amazing. Okay, I think we've made some good changes. Anything else, Randy?
Nope, I'm good where we're at.
Okay, perfect. I turn the screen back over to the important people if I can figure out how. All right, next item on our agenda. Oh, that's not for me to say. I'm not the boss. I'll shut up now.
So the next item on our agenda is discussion of equine aftercare. I spoke with Connie about this morning, and I've spoken with Linnell. And I understand that, we don't really have as a commission the legal authority to require, horse owners to do any particular thing with their animals, once their racing careers are over. But I do think it is important for us to, clearly articulate that we support, um, making sure that retired racers have a safe and productive place to land. And I think one thing to keep in mind is that this is also a way of promoting the overall equine industry. If a horse's career is over and done with when they're done racing, they're still a relatively young animal, and they have a lot to contribute to the economy over the next 20 plus years of their life. And so by promoting, second disciplines and responsible placement of horses with people that are going to, you know, um, allow those animals to continue to live and compete or whatever, that's not just a good thing to do for the animals, but it also has very positive economic benefits, because as long as those horses are alive, they're contributing to the economy. So that's just sort of what I was thinking on this. And again, I understand that we are probably limited in what we can require, but I still think that there are things that we can do to sort of let the public know that this is important to us as a body. So.
And Commissioner Beckstedt, with that said, I would like to hear, if you don't mind, from Micah Lloyd on what he learned from the RCI meeting, and if Dr. Everman has, Dr. Everman has treated equines for years and seen a lot of these racehorses after their careers, if he has any feedback on this. Is that all right with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. I attended the Association of the Racing Commissioners International meeting in Ohio last week, along with commissioners from multiple states around the U.S., as well as Canada, Mexico, Puerto Rico. It was a multi-day event, a lot of different topics in conference and panels. There were a couple, I believe, of particular interest to this committee, not the least of which was the Safe Horses First briefing, where they discussed animal welfare matters and current research and industry challenges. The general consensus was that safety through regulation was kind of maxed out, and that they were now looking towards technology to help improve the safety components, passive detection of abnormalities, followed by clinical evaluation of vet teams, and then based upon that, radiology, ultrasound, etc. They really were discussing also about wearable detection devices, and they were evaluating, I think, RFQs from 12 different companies. They measured the muscular skeletal parameters and create a fingerprint for every horse, and then they can do proactive flagging on when a deviation is detected, and can often learn and raise a hand when there's a impending issue coming up with the horse. These aren't cheap, though. They are looking at funding options, including abilities to help smaller groups like us to bolt. They're still in the evaluation stage. One particular note was that Hong Kong's method of classifying injuries was noted as being better than how we do things here in the States. For example, there's a different injury classification for a horse that is injured due to the result of another horse. If a horse on the track has a catastrophic failure and the horse behind him trips over it, causing a secondary issue, that has a different attribute. So you can actually say that one injury caused two, not that there were two horses separately injured. The aftercare commission or committee had three speakers, one talking about the standardbred, one about quarter horses, and one talking about thoroughbred. Just an aside, and it was noted in the committee meeting, it was unfortunate how many of the attendees of the conference kind of left the room for this discussion to go talk about other things. It kind of showed, I think, an unfortunate component across that many may not see it as important, maybe reading into it. Janet Van Bever from the AQHA talked about quarter horses, and the AQHA has a section on their website about second career racehorses. And she shared a very interesting idea that they do where some of the quarter horses that have been moved on to a second life, maybe with barrel racing. I don't know if we do that in any of our fairs. I haven't been to our fairs yet, where the commission would set aside a special prize, $5,000 for quarter horses who went to a second career, just to help promote the idea and get that idea out to the rural. Connie.
Just a quick question. Was that the commission that would do that, or was it the association?
Sorry, it was the association. Yeah, you're right. But we may have to have thoughts about that too and see if we might. Anyway, it was just a great idea. I thought I would share with this team here. Jennifer Daniels with the standardbred. It's not really applicable for us. I learned that the quarter horses are multi-discipline. They're easier to transition to a post-race life. Stacy Clark Rogers with the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. thoroughbredaftercare.org. And the oversight they have. You also shared that the Old Friends is a group that runs out of Kentucky and is the third most popular Kentucky attraction.
Yeah, I've been to Old Friends, and it is amazing. There are Kentucky Derby winners that live there, very famous racehorses that and people travel from all over the place just to get one-on-one FaceTime with, these retired racers, that many of them whose names are very well known and had very illustrious careers. So yeah, that is, and and Linnell, I don't know if you and I specifically discussed this or not, but it might be interesting to think of ideas around maybe setting up, different contests or competitions where we reward people who have taken a retired racer and turned them onto a second career. And what I'm thinking sort of as sort of a model is what they do with BLM Mustangs. They have these competitions, very often with kids, where these kids have 90 days to take a fresh off the range Mustang and take it and compete with it. And I mean, those kids have these horses that are just a few months from being completely wild. Those horses will do everything but tie your shoes and cook you breakfast. I mean, they're amazing. And wouldn't it be great if we had something like that for thoroughbreds, some sort of competition or something, just as a way of showcasing the ability that these retired athletes have across multiple disciplines?
Right.
Scott, can I add something?
Yes.
So the retired racehorse program actually does put on a competition very similar to the Mustang Makeover.
Oh, wow.
It's called, I believe it's the Thoroughbred Makeover. It takes place at the Kentucky Horse Park in October every year, and it's a huge competition.
Wow.
Yeah. So Commissioner, that's the competition. I sent you that article.
Yes.
And the picture that it was featuring was of an Oregon bred Cowboy Swagger.
Yeah.
He won that event in 2019 after he had retired from racing at Portland Meadows. He was retrained by a world renowned barrel racer, Fallon Taylor, and she took him back to Kentucky and competed. She won the entire event, not only the barrel racing event, but the entire event. So, and that was on an Oregon bred. So
That's
there are
amazing.
those, I mean, there's that big competition. There's also equestrian events, even throughout Oregon, that feature thoroughbreds only. I don't think they have enough Oregon breds to have an Oregon bred thoroughbred event, but they do have specific thoroughbred events. And we've sponsored some of those in the past. And those are certainly things that we can look at for
Yeah,
doing
I
more.
think those are great. So if there is a role for the commission to play in sort of promoting or celebrating those kinds of things, I think that would be fantastic. And again, just to sort of, demonstrate to the public that these animals, especially to the horse owning public, that these animals, are capable of going on to doing really great things once they're off the track.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Actually, up at Emerald Downs, they have a fund that they set aside money that would go for aftercare for scholarships and grants. They call it the Prodigious Fund. And I looked into this. They get industry contributions. They charge a per starter contribution. And then Emerald Downs matches that. So they've built this fund that they use specifically for retired racehorses. So looking into something like that, or just having funds set aside for scholarships or grants.
Yeah.
And then promoting that as well, promoting it on our websites, on newsletters, to get the positive, interest from the public.
Yeah, if you ever get stories like that in the future, we definitely want to post them. One of the biggest problems that we have, though, is the handle that they're getting at Emerald Downs is huge. And what they're getting at Grants Pass doesn't even pay their bills. So, at this particular junction, until we get some improvements in funding, I don't see where we're going to be able to get those extra dollars right now. So in the short term, I'm not trying to be negative. I think this is all amazing stuff. And both Malia and Karen, have you ever had a racehorse? Malia and I both had racehorses before we were ever involved in the industry.
Yes.
Yeah, Karen
I've actually had a couple of rescues that were racehorses.
Yeah,
and they weren't rescued off of the track or from the thoroughbred people. They were rescued out of dressage.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I've had them.
So
I would do it again in a heartbeat because he went on to be a really great 4-H horse.
Yeah, mine was a great horse too.
Can I make one?
Sure.
Just how, everything we're talking about, but maybe at some point there's a place on a website, whether it's ours or the ORC, because I know a lot of trainers, individual trainers, they don't maybe make a big deal about it, but when they get a horse that's getting ready to retire, they'll go find that second career, whether it's, finding somebody that says, I'm going to turn that horse to a pony horse, or I'm going to turn that horse into a horse that they'll use, on the track for other purposes, or it'll be a complete second career in hunter jumper. But I think the idea would be, toward what Commissioner's talking about is, a place to put that up and say, so this such and such racehorse, ran for X years on the Oregon racing circuit, was retired this month. He will be blah, 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 doing this and that. At least it's out there in front of the public that they could say, well, good for that trainer, good for the industry that's happening. Even though it's not a funded situation, at least we can make note of the people that are doing their best to give these horses their second career.
Yeah, we have a great place on our front page of our website that we could put it on. And I'm sure if these horses ran at Grants Pass, they'd put them on their Facebook page. And so that I think that's a great idea.
There's one additional note I'd like to share with the committee here. A separate conversation that was had with Pat Cummings, who's now the executive director with the National Thoroughbred Alliance, which was created with the owner, Mike Ripoll, I think. They're focused on the equine transition from racing life to non-racing life. But their goal is to further engage the operators and owners, not just the regulators. But one of his points, and it's just not about retiring, but it points a light to the ORC, not particular, but something for us to consider is that this strongly encourages an increase in public communication. And this was an interesting point. For example, when a race inquiry changes the results of the finish, it's rarely noted or shared with the public why. And he, stipulates that this could create public suspicion. And I think it's worth considering and worth acknowledging internally that it is something we should potentially think about. And I wanted to present it to this committee here too.
Dr. Everman.
Well, I'm not sure I followed that exactly. Lloyd, what did you, Michael, what did you actually want us to do there?
No. I'm not looking for action, but I was sharing someone's perception on how just a change. That's not necessarily a scratch, but when there's an inquiry on a race, a horse nudges another or whatever, the stewards may make a decision on something, and the results are changed.
Right.
And I think the thought he was throwing out there was that without explaining why something was changed, just unilaterally changing something is how it's perceived, and that may create suspicion, public suspicion.
And Dr. Everman, when I called on you, I apologize. What I was calling on you for was to talk about transitions that you've seen in your practice, racehorses that have gone on for other careers.
Well, I think the important thing to remember in all of this, I'm just going to finish this last point that Micah made before I address that issue. And that is that when there is a change in order at Grants Pass, at least, they always announce it over the public address system that the inquiry is going on based on what it's going on. They say what the inquiry is, and then they will disqualify a certain horse. And I think it's pretty well publicly addressed at that point, and there's almost always a reporter present. If not, I've had reporters call me several times, and I would refer them to Connie, which if she wanted to, she could. That information is out there, so it's available right now. So I'm not worried about that. As far as retired race horses, we have to remember that these horses are expensive. We have about 5 horses at our place right now, where my wife and I live, and the people are spending around $1,500 a month to keep the horses there with training, board, bedding, food, etc. And this is a pretty big expense for a lot of these trainers. And they have to think about, do they want to spend this money to keep the horse at a retirement home, which they are available, or do they want to sell it, which we had at Grants Pass at least 2 agents that were present at the end of the meet and toward the end of the meet that went around to people and made themselves available and said, if you're interested in selling this horse or, letting it go to a different home, let me know and I can arrange that. And so it's pretty widely known that these horses are individually owned by people. I think that putting it on our website is a really good idea. All the possible connections that people could make, as many as we can come up with, to specify where and with whom they should contact to, make arrangements to have the horse go away, because horses are expensive. And I just welcome anybody else. I'm sure everybody here either has horses or knows people with horses, so you could comment on that yourself. But keeping a horse is a big deal. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Lynelle.
Oh, sorry, Malia. That's okay. I was just going to say, we're talking about a lot of things that we're already doing. We have information on our websites. You know, like I said, we've sponsored some equestrian events, and you've just put it in your values that you're going to partner with associations to promote retirement and aftercare. So I'm going to challenge the commission. If the OTOBA puts up $1,000 for a scholarship or grant for someone to retrain an off-track thoroughbred and take it to a competition, would you match that? You know, let's put our money where our words are, and
I say
let's actually
yes.
do something that is going to make a difference. And that is something we can then promote all of the associations and the industry. And we can say, like Santa Anita and Harris Farms are doing, we're going to do it too. We're going to encourage this and find homes and find new careers for our off-track thoroughbreds, and Oregon can be a leader in that as well. So I'll put a proposal together, I'll send it to the commission, and I would hope that you join us and actually do this and make it a good thing for our state.
I think it's a great idea, Linnell, and I will go to bat for it. So yeah, definitely send us that that proposal, and I'll make sure we talk about it.
Great, thank you. We'll find another cowboy swagger. We want another one to go back to Kentucky and win the event.
You know, and we could all, you know, tell our stories about our favorite off-track thoroughbred, but my off-track thoroughbred, when I got him, the guy that I got him from found him at an Arizona dude ranch where an old cowboy had him snubbed up to a post and was working him over with a 2x4 to try and turn him into a good dude ranch horse, you know, and at this point he would have been like maybe 4 or 5 years old. But when I got on him, I found out that he had basic dressage, basic show jumping. Of course, more than anything, he just wanted to run, which I was more than happy to let him do. But he was like the perfect example of, you know, I mean, first of all, thank goodness that he was pulled out of that terrible situation, because a young thoroughbred, big gelding is not going to be a good, you know, dude ranch horse. But he had so many other abilities and clearly took to them. And everything I tried on him, from pole bending to barrel racing to trail riding to long runs on the beach, he went after it with gusto, because I think these animals really are, just like Labrador retrievers are sort of hardwired to fetch. These animals are hardwired to compete. He loved to compete. And that's what I wish more people knew, more people in the equestrian world knew, is that these horses really do have, you know, amazing abilities. Every single one is going to have their own little quirks. I mean, they're all individuals with their own personalities, but just the overall potential, I think, is something that we could really showcase. And so I love that idea, Linnell.
Great. That's awesome.
Are we done talking about the aftercare? Because if so, I think we're ready to adjourn.
Any other public comment? I think we made some great progress. Good job, Commissioner. Everyone else is here. Thanks.
Connie,
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was just having some technical problems with my computer. I just wanted to kind of piggyback what Dr. Everman was talking about and what Randy was talking about. And I just wanted to share with you that we probably have 3 or 4 people who are very active members of the Southern Oregon Horse Racing Association who now have horses that they basically got from the track. And that's one connection they have with Sora. And it's kind of become like those guys were talking about, you know, a lot of it's word of mouth and people communicating with one another, you know, within the racing community. But I do want to let you know, whether it's someone like a Tim Abraham or other owners and trainers that have come to the conclusion that, you know, a thoroughbred, or sometimes even a quarter horse, where their, you know, racing days are behind them, that, you know, we've got some really neat success stories as far as some of these horses, you know, finding not only a good home but then also transitioning to other, other types of things. So I just kind of wanted to, make sure that everybody was aware of that. And I'm sure that, that happens elsewhere because we're kind of a tight-knit community and whatnot. And like Dr. Everman said, so much of what happens on the backside is, word of mouth, whether it's a good thing or whether it's a bad thing. But I just wanted to share with you that we have a handful of people that have become very active members of SORA and big supporters of grants pass downs in the industry. And their connection is that they've had a real good experience with horses that they've ended up with that were, former racehorses. So I just wanted to share that with you and the fact that, that type of thing, is happening. And I think that, whatever we can do to support those type of things makes all the difference in the world. And I know that from an awareness standpoint, we try to make sure, just like what Linnell was talking about, that when these horses go on and in some cases go on to bigger and better things and do really well with their second careers, we like to make sure that people know about that type of thing.
I'm going to throw one last thing out there, and I apologize for making this on a beautiful Friday afternoon a little bit longer. But one thing I would love to see us consider, and it's not something for today or this week or this month, maybe not even this year, but a huge missed opportunity I see that we have is to try to pull the entire equine industry together. That's how we really make a difference. If we can get the leadership team from all the equine industries together and talk about all the horses out there that do have amazing careers that we don't know about and how we can be working more closely together on those things. I think that's where we can really make some traction. Just a thought.
I like it, Connie. And what this conversation has it's been very illuminating because what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that there are already great things out there happening, great people doing great things and with horses. And so I think our task is just to really start showcasing that a little bit more and maybe developing new ideas and new programs to give the good work that's already being done a boost. So I'm excited by the conversation, and I'm really grateful for those of you that chimed in to let me know that there's there are already some really good things happening. So that's really very encouraging.
And then just one other thing to add, since you brought up the whole as far as the equine industry, that's one thing that we've actually, thanks to Rod and Randy and whatnot, that we've actually made some really good connections with some equestrian clubs in Southern Oregon, whether it's at the high school level or at the youth level. And, we've got an equestrian club that is in charge of cleaning up the bleachers, every day after the races. And, we've got a great, thanks to Rod and Randy, we've got a great, working arrangement with them. They actually performed this fall. They did an amazing job. And they actually did a performance one of the days during the fall. So we're in the process of doing more of that. And I think we're very pleasantly surprised with the results that we're getting, because then we get new people to come out to the horse races too, where they come out to the races and, whether it's the student athletes doing a performance, during the middle of the races or before the races or doing something that's connected with the national anthem or being part of our team as far as helping us out either on the front side or the back side. We're doing more and more of that. And I think it's a win-win situation. It's kind of a fundraiser for them. It's a way for us to kind of support what they're doing. They get a little more exposure and visibility by being part of what we're doing. So I think that, the more engagement that we do when it comes to other people that are involved in the equine industry, I think it makes all the difference in the world.
Great.
That's good feedback. So thank you again for everyone. I'll make a final call for comments or questions. Anyone? All right. Any objection to adjourning?
Nope.
We are adjourned.